Hey everyone, I finished watching the next Ninja Storm episode, The Wild Wipeout. I freaking love this episode. This episode is so good. Especially after the last couple of episodes were kinda yeah. Like, this is definitely a highlight of the season and one of the best episodes Ninja Storm has. So, summary, some surfer dudes are belittling Tori for being a girl. Sure. So then she decides to show them up. But unbeknownst to her, there's a monster nearby. It casts some kind of spell on her, which causes her to go to another dimension when she wipes out. Alright, I'll talk about that later on. So she wakes up on the shore to find that the beach is filled with monsters and Kelzacs. And to her confusion, they're all friendly and helpful. They're getting along just fine with all the humans there. No one seems to see this as out of the ordinary. Tori's confused, so she goes down the storm chargers to find the other rangers. She bumps into Kelly, who's wearing emo makeup and is really rude for some reason. So Tori asks where the guys are, and she's like, oh, they're in the back. And she calls them forward, and it's Chubo and Zergain. Okay. And Zergain gets about as much respect here that he does in the normal universe. That's sad. Um, So anyway, Tori, still very confused. Oh, and to make her more confused on the TV, she sees a news report about there's an attack on the city by the Power Rangers. She sees her friends blowing up buildings. And she's all like, what? So then she goes to Ninja Ops to figure out what's going on. And she finds everybody is acting really weird. They're rude, uncaring, mean, belittling. And also, Dustin is the smart tech guy. Cam acts like Cyber Cam. And even Sensei is nothing like himself. If you want to leave, you know where the waterfall is. Oh, and he's still a guinea pig. I I'm wondering how that works in this universe. This is indeed a disturbing universe. Anyway, the Rangers all attack Tori, but she doesn't really want to fight back against people who were her friends, so she runs away and she comes across Mar and Capri, who are hippies now. Sure, it works. She asks them for help and they lead her to the mayor, Lothor. And there's a funny little bit where they take her into the mayor's office, and you can see there's a desk with a little placard on it that says Mayor Lothor. Also, in the back, you can see that evil space ninja symbol, or whatever that is, that centipede thing. So anyway, Tori tries to convince Lothor to help her defend the city from the Rangers, and Lothor doesn't want to fight. He's like, I want to solve this non-violently. And so she goes to confront the Rangers herself, who are on another rampage. She tries to morph, but she's unable to because. Hmm. Luckily for her, Mayor Lothor shows up with his own team of heroes Shimatsu, Zergain, Chubo, Motodrone, who my notes spelled wrong for some reason. Don't know how that happens. There we go. Marin Capri and Vexicus. So, a bit more than the typical Ranger team, but whatever. It's cool to see all the villains in together in one place, working towards like a single goal, fighting all together for I think the first time ever, and probably only time ever. So anyway, they battle the evil Rangers while Tori watches on and giggles to herself at this bizarre, surreal situation going on in front of her. I love that scene where she's just watching and going, it's freaking awesome. So anyway, oh yeah, one of the really cool things, the Kelzacs join in. That's brilliant. It's so cool to see the Kelzacs like being good guys and actually making more of an impact than they typically do. And then there's a really cool part at the end. At the end, all of Lothor and all of his minions put their weapons together and make their own version of the Power Blaster. That is a really cool thing. That's really clever. I love that. That is just the cherry on top of this episode. And so then the Rangers demorph and Lothor places them under arrest. Lothor thanks Tori for helping him gain confidence to defend the city, and then Mar and Capri suggest that Tori can get home if she goes back the way she came. So she goes surfing, wipes out, and yep, she's back in her own dimension. Just in time, there's a new monster attacking. It's the monster who cast a spell on her earlier. So then they defeat the monster, and everything's back to normal. Later on, Tori's telling Blake about what happened, and Blake doesn't quite believe it. because he can't believe he'd be mean to her in any dimension. And then he reassures her that she shouldn't feel the need to prove herself to anyone like the bullies at the beginning. And so then he tells her that from now on you have to agree, you have to promise me that you'll always go surfing with a buddy. And so she's like, cool, you just volunteered. And so she goes to teach Blake how to surf. And that's the end. It's a freaking awesome episode. It's such a fresh concept, very similar to the classic Star Trek episode Mirror Mirror, where Kirk finds himself in this alternate dimension where allegiances and morality are completely reversed, where evil is what Starfleet stands for, and like the heroes are villains and the villains are heroes. It's very bizarre. Now, there's been several episodes previous to this where we've had evil rangers, but this is probably the farthest they ever go with the idea, although it's also Ninja Storm, so they're not serious evil villains, they're goofy evil villains. The rangers here are more similar to I don't know, the villains in Car Ranger, where they're kind of just an evil gang of no good nicks, basically. Uh Also, it's interesting to have like an entire dimension dedicated to everything being flipped on its head. The Rangers are evil and the villains are the good guys. It's a really cool thing that I'm disappointed never went anywhere. They had this one episode, it's really good, and like I wasn't expecting them to revisit it in Ninja Storm, but it's such a good concept. It feels like the type of thing that they could have brought back in another season. This feels like the type of thing that could have been a good like tradition like Sentai has. Sentai has like certain episodes that are the type of plot or something going on that happens nearly every season. I kind of wish Power Rangers had something like that. Unfortunately, it just kind of goes and does whatever, and we don't usually remember what happens in the past unless it's something to the detriment of the show. Whatever, moving on. Uh, I love that Tori is the one that we follow through all this because I can't imagine anyone else handling this situation as well as her. With Cam, I feel like he'd probably figure out what's going on way too soon, and I don't know, I don't think it would be as fun to discover a new world through him. It's not like in Samurai's Journey where we're in the past and we're learning about, like, relatives and new powers or anything. In this episode, we're just trying to get out. Shane, Hunter, Blake, or Dustin, I feel like I don't know, they might just fight a lot. Tori is the more cool-headed, level-headed one, so she's able to remain calm and adapt to this new world in an entertaining way. Also, like I said before, it's interesting to speculate how the events of this new world came together, like Sensei being a guinea pig. Why is he a guinea pig in this universe? Did him and Lothor have a fight? Did the non-violent pacifist Lothor turn him into a guinea pig? Was there some kind of, like, was there a reason? Is it because he's a pacifist? He didn't want to hurt him, so he's like, well, I don't want to kill you, but I can turn you into a guinea pig. Yeah. Also, like, how long have the monsters been around? Oh, and what about the Kelzaks? Are the Kelzaks loyal to Lothor, or are they their own, like, species or people or whatever? Oh, and they mentioned Cybercam. They know who he is, so Cybercam was built. Did Dustin build Cybercam in this alternate universe? And also, I'm wondering, like, how long have the aliens and humans lived together? It's kind of like at the end of Mystic Force, where the humans and the creatures of the forest get together and they get along pretty well, or in SPD, where the aliens and the humans get along. Interesting concepts that would kind of pop up again later on. Anyway, in here we don't really get any explanation for it. It's all just supposed to be weird. Let's see. The only really weak moment of this entire episode, which I freaking love this whole episode, this is definitely one of my favorites of Ninja Storm. But yeah, the weak part is the monster at the end. We did not need the monster at all, I don't think. And I'm fairly certain the only reason there's a monster in this at all is because there was a mandate in place that each episode had to have a monster. Because it's all American footage, I'm pretty sure. And I'm trying to remember, was there even a Zord fight at the... I don't think there was even a Zord fight. Or actually, was there any Japanese footage used? I don't know. Maybe this was an episode where they only had a teensy bit of footage to use, so they were like, we'll stick it in at the end. But it wasn't necessary. At the beginning, the monster is the one who sends Tori to the other dimension by casting his spell, but I don't think that's necessary. I think they could have just had her wipe out, wake up in the weird other dimension, and that would have actually built up a bit more of a mystery for the audience, because as it is, the audience sees the monster at the beginning. Oh, he's the one behind all this. And at the end, he confirms, yep, I'm the one who did it. I don't know, this is one of the few episodes where it would have been a stronger story if it was left completely ambiguous and you weren't sure, did she really go to another dimension, or was it all a dream? I think that would have been so much better than, I don't know, explaining that, oh, it's the monster who did it. Or if the monster had just shown up at the end, he had nothing to do with it, then they could, like, I don't know, maybe imply that maybe he sent her the other dimension, and that would have been a tiny bit better than just flat out showing him, like, doing it and confirming that he did it. I don't know. Is that just me? Do other people think like that? I don't know. Also, without the monster fight at the end, it would have been nice to have a bit more exploration of the alternate world. I really like Lothor and his team of monsters. It would have been nice to see a little bit more connection between them, because as it is, he just shows up with a bunch of random monsters, and the only connection that they have is in the world Tori came from, not this world. In this world, I don't know what their connection is. Lothor knows Mar and Capri, they're probably still his nieces in this other dimension. Motodrone is his assistant or something as mayor, but then Chubo, Zergain, Shimatsu, Vexicus, I have no idea what their connection is to him. I mean, maybe they just know him or something, or maybe they are like a team of rangers of sorts in this dimension, but that makes me wonder why they weren't fighting the evil rangers earlier. Whatever. One of the things I really like, oh yeah, when they combine their weapons, that was such a clever idea. Freaking love that. Whoever wrote that, that was perfect. Makes me wish we had toys of all the monsters, and then we could put their weapons together and make a little power blaster. That would be so cool. Wouldn't it be nice if we had Ninja Storm villain figures? That'd be nice. Oh yeah, and I love that the Kelzacks join in. It's such a cool way to flip the conventions. And also it made me think about the henchmen in Dino Fury. If the henchmen hadn't been commandeered by the bad guys, would we see them fighting alongside the Rangers, similar to how the Kelzacks are fighting alongside good Lothor and his team? That'd be really cool. Maybe we'll see it in Cosmic Fury. Unless the writers just forgot that the henchmen used to belong to the Rangers. They might have by now. Anyway, da, 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 da. And one of the things I like about this episode, it's not a big thing, but it's a nice little touch. Lothor is given a tiny little arc. He's reluctant to fight back against the evil Rangers, but Tori is able to give him the confidence to stand up to them. Maybe a little bit more focus on that aspect could have made this a bit stronger of an episode. As it is, though, it's a fine episode. Uh, One of the weird things with this is something, not even in the episode, it was something I read online. I went to Wikipedia, which I'm not doing as often now. I used to go to Wikipedia to look up trivia and stuff for Power Ranger episodes, but I just kind of dropped off doing that because so often a lot of stuff from Ranger Wiki is just nonsense. It's just dumb. Like it's pointing out things that aren't even worth pointing out. And I don't mean like little minute trivial details. I mean like complete misinterpretations of scenes, like total media illiteracy, basically. And that goes true for this and the VR Trooper episode that I also looked up. But there was one thing specifically in the trivia section. I have no idea if this is true. Some citation would be nice, but there isn't any. It said that this episode was originally intended to be the team-up between Ninja Storm and Wild Force. I don't know where in the world that came from, and it made me think, are you sure? Because there's really no aspect here that have anything to do with a team-up. Like, the closest is... I know there was an idea for Jindrax and Toxka to come back and play a part in the team-up, and I guess maybe, sort of, Mar and Capri could fill that role here. There are a few episodes of Ninja Storm that I've noticed feel like they may have been rewritten from whatever the original idea for Hurricaneger was back when it was still going to be in Los Angeles and we were still going to be utilizing old characters coming back and using old props and Zords and like appearances of old things would be implemented into the new season. I don't looking into Ninja Storm really deep like this, I'm not sure how far along they were. It looks like possibly they were farther along than I initially thought. Because, uh, really, all we have to go on is Amit Bhowmik kind of casually talking about, oh yeah, the Hurricanes adaptation was going to have Jason and Tommy leading their own teams of Rangers, and they were going to get into a disagreement, and the whole season was going to be this rivalry between the two, and then at the end they would all team up together, and there would be some other group of villains, and there was going to be a team up with Jindrax and Toxica coming back, and Zanaku was going to be back, and what was it, Joel from Lightspeed was going to have his helicopter there or something. Oh yeah, the helicopter was probably going to be the Samurai Star Megazord or something. But yeah, the way he talked, it was all very casually, like it was just ideas they were tossing around and they hadn't really finalized anything. But then there's the Ninja Con toy that makes me think, was Ninjor planned to come back? Were they gonna have Ninjor back? And then there's all these other little things throughout the series. There was one episode we have a confirmation that was rewritten was way back at the beginning of Ninja Storm, Snippet Good, I think, where it was originally about a peace conference, but they rewrote it to be about an environmental conference. And I'm wondering if the peace conference was originally supposed to tie in with that peace conference from way back in Mighty Morphin that Zack, Trini, and Jason went off to. Were they going to explore that peace conference they went off to? I don't know. Let's see, Jason came back in Zeo, so he's not at the peace conference anymore. I'm assuming it wouldn't go on for years, so Zack and Trini probably also left, but who knows? Maybe there was going to be a plot originally where they had them, like, they became diplomats or something, and they're regularly at conferences or something. I mean, they went for a pretty bizarre direction for Tommy next year, so. Next season, I mean. So, people have weird ideas for Power Rangers when it comes to the writers involved, anyway. I freaking love this episode. Wild Wipeout is easily one of the best episodes of Ninja Storm, and like I don't know if usually like the really good episodes are ones that I'd recommend to people, but Wild Wipeout's a weird one where I'm not sure if I would recommend it to people first. I think maybe watch the first batch of episodes of Ninja Storm before watching this one, but if you do want to do a rewatch of Ninja Storm or watch it for the first time, but you don't want to watch every episode in order, you want to watch it like here and there, I'd say that the premiere, uh, the first two parts of Samurai's Journey and Wild Wipeout are definitely must-watches. And I'll toss Shane's Karma in there, because despite my problems with it, I think it's still one of the stronger episodes of the season, so yeah. Wild Wipeout, it's a good one. I freaking love it. It's such a clever idea. Kind of wish we could have seen more of it. Um, I'm trying to think now, like episodes where the villains like become good guys and there's this whole reversal of everything. But we really never got anything like that. I can't think of anything like that in Dino Thunder or SPD or Mystic Force, Overdrive, Jungle Fury, RPM, Samurai, Megaforce, Dino Charge probably could have done something like this. They're the most similar to Ninja Storm in terms of tone, but anyway, this is going on for a while, so hope you enjoyed this. See ya.